Why is it so hard to actually say what I feel?
Just keep it together.
Don't be too much.
Somewhere along the way, you learned to hold it in, to soften your truth, to shape your voice, to be easier to love. But your body knows, your voice knows, and there's a place inside you where nothing is forced, where everything real gets to exist. This is that place. Welcome to G-Spot. Hi, my loves. You are listening to the G-Spot podcast, and my name is Graciela Serena, your host. Thank you so much for being here. I am going to take this time to, just jump into it. For a long time, I thought I was expressing myself, but I was actually performing. And I'll get more into this, but first I want to say that if you feel like you don't have a voice, or that you have a hard time being in your body, or you feel walked all over, or that you're just having so much trouble being your authentic self in relationship, in life, in actual creativity, I am so, so glad you're here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life, my journey to get me to this point. I'm going to start from just where I was a really bad alcoholic, and I was the type of alcoholic that drank like all day, every day. Hair of the dog was my best friend. I felt so lost. I really had no idea who I was, what I wanted, and music was always a big thing for me. And towards the end of drinking, I felt like I didn't even want to do that. I was giving up on everything around me. I feel like I just collapsed in on myself, and there was this pit in my stomach that just knew this was not the life for me, but I felt like I could not stop. What I didn't realize was that I also was dealing with relationships that I had time and time again chosen that were not right for me, but felt safe because of chaos, or just because they played into the same addictions as I did. And what I noticed later was that relationship that I was in during this cycle there was a very much repression on both sides, and there was not much communication. And that was probably honestly a big part of mine because all I wanted to do was wither away and drink. And my anxious attachment made them my savior. Or should I say I made them my savior? Because around here we take accountability and don't blame our attachment styles or trauma. We look at them, we become aware of them, and we work with them, and we grow. And that's not to underestimate the impact that trauma has on us, but I do believe we can flip the script. At age 23, this person broke up with me, and after many, many drunken nights, many, many moments, I was losing myself. I mean, the person that he had fallen in love with was gone. I wasn't her anymore. I wasn't pursuing my music. I wasn't, I was collapsing. I was barely able to really show up in my life. And in a lot of ways, I've always been a baddie, but was I an embodied baddie? That's, questionable. But he broke up with me when I was 23, and I decided, it took me a minute, that I was going to stop. I was going to stop drinking. So I would say here, without even knowing it, this was the start of my healing journey. Obviously, it was a big turning point in my life, but I don't think I was just like really in with the mindset of like, oh, like, you know, I want to heal and I want to be the best version of myself. That's not really how it was. It was desperation and it was just trying to survive. Uh, but that did lead to some pure gold. So later on, that person reached out to me, said he wanted to quit drinking. And so I helped him in that. And then we got back together and we moved to Asheville, North Carolina. That was beautiful. He was a beautiful person. And ultimately, we were not the right people for each other. But Asheville, North Carolina, just moving from my hometown was one of the best decisions I have ever made. And I'm not saying that everybody should do it, but I started making an album when I got here. And honestly, when I was still in Texas, I started just like digging into music, right? Like that's the thing that I was avoiding. That's the thing that I was abandoning myself with. And once I stopped the alcohol, I was just like, this is where I want my energy. So I came back to Asheville, let that guy go. I was finding my place. I was meeting new people. I was doing the thing. And that's terrifying. It's terrifying. But you know what's really cool is when you can choose who you want to be. And yes, sometimes it's hard when you know people, when you've known people, but at the end of the day, it's all choice, baby. And if you lose people in the process, so be it. Sometimes that's the evolution and the growth, but that's for a different podcast because this is a whole series and we can go into many things. So that was a turning point. I had moved there with the old guy. We weren't meant for each other. And then I jumped right into another relationship that was the most toxic relationship I've ever been in because no matter where you go, there you are. And they were my new addiction. And I have and had so much love for them. And some people would be like, how could you love them when they treated you like that? You know, I can love someone and have compassion for their journey and still be like, I no longer choose to have you in my life. So that's kind of what had happened over a series of times going through this really deep, deep underworld experience of just complete and total destruction and recognizing how much that was in my psyche, that what I was playing out was in my psyche, and recognizing that so much of my truth, so many things, like how was I able to let this person stomp all over me and then claim I was confident and empowered? And that's what started coming up for me in this relationship is people saw me on a stage and they were like, oh my gosh, how do you do it? You're so confident. You're so empowered. Like, I see you as this. I see you as that. And I was like, I'm a lie. Hey, it's me. I'm a lie. Yeah, cool. And that felt so, so hard because I could tell people looked up to me in that way. And that's not like, oh my God, yeah, people look up to me. I know how much impact art can have. And it's that real imposter syndrome of when you're not living aligned. And deep down, you know it. There came a breaking point of recognizing, like looking around and being like, this is not the life I want for myself. And that happened in the beginning, right? In the last relationship, like, this is not the life I want. This is not meant for me. And I had a breaking point. I think what happened for me is that I stopped putting on a show. And some people, you know, that can look like the good girl. That can look like the pity show, the hard worker, the independent, the overachiever, the I don't care, the I'm chill, the I'm flow, the confident show. That can look like just all the facades that we think we're supposed to be because somewhere along the way that became our story and that became our cage. Where is the embodiment if it's all a show? There is none. So as someone who is a performer, I would say that the biggest turning point for me and the biggest thing that I did to support my art in life was to quit putting on a show. And in my music and my art, you will see me up there. I am real. I am so real and I'm so authentic. And, sometimes, like I have this new show. It's called Letters of Liberation, and it is terrifying sometimes. I'm talking about my childhood, like heartbreaks. I'm talking about my father who till this point, I haven't really talked about. A lot of people don't know about that. And so, and maybe we'll go into that different episode, but that's not the point right now. I started finding my voice, like really finding my voice. And everyone thinks that I was so confident all the time, like that I just have this like embodied, and yes, there's an essence to me. I'm a very bright, like fiery person. But internally, there was a war. And it wasn't until I started regulating my nervous system, expressing like fully like embodied, and really started being less hard on myself that I was really able to find my voice. And in sessions, this is something that I help people do. There's so much more around this, right? Like there's so much work that I've been doing. There's so many things, but like at the same time, yes, it takes work and you're already there. The person that you want to be is already here. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. The person that you want to be is already here. It's about giving permission, letting those stories go, and stepping in to her, him, you. And so I can say, after I've told you this whole journey, where I am now is definitely not perfect. And I mean, I literally just bought a program to work with my own things, because it's always healing. But I will say that I am honest. I say my needs. I express fully and authentically in a way that is not trying to put on a show. It's for me. The way I dress every day, that's for me. The way I express is for me. And that right there is how people magnetize to you. It's not by wanting them to like you or putting on the show. It's by being your authentic self. And the reason why I tell you so much about my relationships is because that is a place where a lot of us get silenced. That's where a lot of the work is. And yes, childhood and our past and all of that has definitely a impact, and we will talk about that. But we're living in the now as well. We can fall into patterns in relationships. We learn a lot in relationships, and our voice is important in communication, in creativity, and to be the authentic self, to show up in relationship to ourselves and others. And this podcast is for the people who feel that disconnect, who know there's more truth in them than what they're saying, who wants to grow and learn and expand their truth and not be afraid of being themselves and not being afraid of looking at the parts where we might be bypassing or not aware. And I want to be that person in your ear once a week or however many times you want to listen to tell you it's okay. You can be messy. You can make the mistakes. You can rise and crash again. And it's all about coming back to that true person, that true self that you know is in there and that you want to be. And no more running, no more silencing, just truth, just honesty. And I promise you that's what I will bring to this podcast. We will talk about relationships, self-worth, voice, nervous system, and really, really messy freaking growth. Raw and real, because that's how I choose to live my life. And I am so excited for you to do the same. And if you're in that place right now, you are definitely in the right spot.
Thank you for listening to G Spot, where your truth turns you on. This isn't just something you listen to, it's something you live. So take what landed here and bring it into your next conversation, your next boundary, your next moment of truth. If you're walking this path and want to go deeper, find me on Instagram at Graciela Serena Music. You can find more information on how to work with me below in the show notes. And if this resonated, let it travel. Share, comment. I would love to hear from you. But most of all, remember, your truth isn't too much. Your voice isn't the problem. Stay there, in that place where it's real. I'll see you next time.